Hey, what's up, everybody? Brooke here. I hope wherever you are in the world today is treating you well. Happy Friday. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. So, I just got done with the breakfast order at my job. It's so funny. I have 7 people that I have to order for, which usually it's a lot more. But there's a couple guys out today, and there's a long line, and people are annoyed that I'm ordering for my guys. And I'm like, do you want to do the breakfast order for my job with guys who have a very particular orders? Nobody can be easy. Do you want to deal with that? And then you go back and tell a bunch of hungry guys that you screwed up or whatever. You know what I mean? Breakfast order is very important. So I want to talk. That's one of the things that I want to talk about today is things that I've learned on the job, being a female in construction, a plumber, a welder. I do a couple different things in the trade. So if you're interested in videos like this, let me know in the comments below and I will make more of them. So being a woman in the field has been an interesting experience because a lot of people have horror stories about being in the field, being a woman. And I have to say that I've dealt with a lot. I've dealt with a lot of my fair share of shenanigans and tomfoolery, let's just put it that way. But I will say that for the most part, there are a lot of people that are in the field that want to help you do well. Especially when they realize that they're only as strong as their weakest link. So if you have a female that's in the trade and you're working with them and you just give them a hard time, whatever, you're not really being a team player, which of course is, it sounds corny, but it's true. You're not being a team player. The job always sucks, right? When you have problems with people, so a lot of people, at least in my opinion, especially as I move along in my plumbing career, they know that, so they want to make it work for you. They want things to go well. They want you to know what you're doing. They want to be able to rely on you so they're not taking on more slack. I've actually had a couple different journeymen tell me that there are some guys that will definitely haze you, right? They will. They're going to haze you, whether you're a female, or a man, or you're old, you're young, whatever. There's some guys that are just going to bust your chops. That's just what it is. That's what they do. And it's the aesthetic in the field for whatever reason. But it's interesting because I've had people tell me that they're like, listen, they're like, I just don't want to do your job. You know what I mean? If you come on the job, I don't want it to be like I'm now doing 2 jobs. I want to be able to give you things to do. I want to be able to take the burden off of me. So when I can do less, And I've had it a couple times where I've had guys they'll show me how to do condensates or let's say pipe out or whatever, do something, right? Let's say I'm throwing up a stack and they want me to put a vent on it, something very, small, right? Nothing crazy. And I show them I could do it, and then they'll just literally sit back. All right, I'm going to have a cigarette, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and I'm working. But that's good because, people always complain about people in the trades, oh, it's expensive, this, that, and the third. Yeah, well, it, took me 15 years to do something in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's funny that, and those are kind of 2 different points, but it's funny that that's been my experience. At least my experience, I know your mileage may vary, especially if you're a woman watching this and you're like, well, that's not my experience. It's been my experience, okay? I've most certainly worked with men that did not want to work with me at all. Didn't want to work with me at all. Were disgruntled working with me. And then I would just really work hard at, showing them that I can do what I can, the best that I can do. And when they see that I'm doing the best, it may not be their best, but it's the best that I can do. Usually that will disarm. Most times, never really had a problem. Any issues I've ever had with a guy, I've always resolved, right? So that's one thing that I've learned is that they want you to succeed for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Now in general, in life, unfortunately, a lot of people, they'll want to see you do good, just not better than them. But in the trades, I guess you could say that too. But as a female, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of men that I've worked with, they want you to do well because they don't want to take on your job, So that's one thing that I would say that I learned about that. Now, I've read people having different experiences saying that, oh, they kicked me off the job. I can't discount people's experiences because I know that there's really difficult people out there, men and women alike. So I'll just say that that's been my experience, that they don't want you to fail. It's not from Jump Street. They're like, oh, we're going to haze this girl till she quits. That can certainly happen. I've been in that position, in even non-union. So I work at this machine shop. I'm actually working there tomorrow. So I'll try to film some things, but I worked at this machine shop and I became really close with this one guy. But before we were close, he's an older gentleman. He would do things to sabotage me, in the sense of screwing with the machines, really just trying to make it so I had a difficult time doing my job because he didn't want me to replace him, right? So I was told this by another man that I was working with, and he was like, "You gotta keep your eye on this guy because he's like he doesn't know that. I guess he doesn't realize that you know how to run these machines, so you can just literally just fix the settings." So then when I confronted him one day, he's like, "Listen," he's like, "I'm really sorry." He even apologized, like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "But from where I come from, you don't, people come in to do the same job as you. It's gonna be they're gonna give you the axe to somebody. You know what I'm saying?" So, so I appreciate that honesty. What kind of van is that? Sorry, I'm in Garden City right now, Long Island, waiting for some food for the crew. So I just wanted to make a video quick. But anyway, but that's one thing I learned. Another thing that I learned is not to take things personally. Do not take things personally. And that's in life. Don't take things personally. It's very hard to not do that when it's a straight up attack to you, whether somebody's saying something to you, whether whatever, right? It's hard to be like that. But I'm telling you right now that usually the way people treat you, yeah, they could certainly not like you, they don't want you there, whatever, but usually they have their own stuff going on, especially if it's like negative, like the way that they're treating you, or if it's their attitude. Everybody has their own world that they live in, and it's funny because we all coexist in the same world, but like people are dealing with things you know nothing about. They could have a bad marriage, issues with kids, issues with drugs, whatever, right? Like finances, which is a big problem for a lot of people. Don't take things personally. Maybe they have an issue with the job. Maybe they can't lose their job. Maybe they're anxious. And a lot of times with anxiety, people will act out in certain ways. Like they might be angry. Some people think anxious is just like, oh, I'm so nervous. Not necessarily. Anxious could be very depressed. Anxious could be very aggressive. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about dealing with certain things, and some people deal with it in a more aggressive manner. And especially on the job, you meet so many different people. I remember this one guy I was working with, this was non-union. He was like really difficult. He was really difficult. And I found out that he had like a major drug problem. But some days he was awesome, and some days he was difficult. And unfortunately, the days he was awesome, he was high as a kite, but the other days that he was difficult, he was trying to fight this, and unfortunately he passed away recently. So he had succumbed to that illness, right? To being a drug addict. But it's unfortunate, and I didn't know. Everyone's like, oh, you didn't know he was a crackhead? I was like, I mean, I'm oblivious, like that's kind of how I am. Sorry, people are just staring like, what's this chick doing? But yeah, so anyway, so don't take things personally. Most people want you to succeed, right? Don't just go in there being like, oh, I'm the only chick on the job site and I'm scared. Like, don't just go in there. Hold your head high. Hold your head high. It's a freaking job. It's a job. It's a job. Granted, the fact that you even showed up on the job site is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Just be prepared to work. That's it. And also another thing I learned is to be vocal about your limitations. Be vocal about the things that you cannot do. Do not try to do things you can't do. You will get hurt. You will do something wrong. You will screw something up. You'll screw somebody over. Just don't do it. Just be honest. Be like, oh, yeah, I mean, I'll try to do this. I've never done it before. I always do that. So like with PEX, for example, right? So easy. Anybody who's a plumber that's listening to this, like PEX is friggin' baby stuff. But when I first started doing PEX, which I'm not a fan of, I'm much more copper and soldering. Sorry, I had one of the guys call me and add a bialy toasted with butter to their order. Like, I didn't have enough to order. So I was worried about using the PEX gun, and I remember, like, a couple times I didn't wait for it to open up totally, like, I guess, like, the fitting or whatever, and I would go to pop them in together, and it gets stuck, like, it's not in all the way. And I wouldn't be able to pull it out, and it's just annoying, right? So I just wanted to do a good job, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my biggest thing, and I was very honest and transparent about the fact that I didn't know how to do this. And even, like, for example, doing, like, holding the PEX gun, like the big gun, it was a lot for me. I was like, listen, I'm just gonna need a couple more minutes because I have to, like, build the strength up in my wrist, just be honest. Who cares? You don't have to go in there trying to be Sally Badass, and expecting that you can just, like, pipe things down that you've never done before. Like, it takes time. Everybody learns, and there's no shame in that. And I think a lot of people just have egos, and they're like, oh, we can do the same thing. And it's like, listen, women can do a lot. Just, even for men, like, just don't stress yourself out and don't put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect, or to pretend that you know everything, things that you don't know. Like, you're going to screw yourself over. You're going to get hurt. It's happened way too many times. It's happened so many times. And then the worst thing is, like, and I've seen guys that are like, oh yeah, I could do this, I could do this. They do it and they screw it up, and now it's 3 days worth of fixing it, you know. And then the foreman freaks out. You probably get laid off. Like, it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth it. So I'm trying to think of what other things I've learned. Like, these are just random tidbits that I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, there's so much. There's like literally so much. I've learned so much on the job. I've learned so much. Don't take things personally. Be honest. Be transparent. Just work. Just put a good day's work in, you know? And then, of course, there's like the health aspects. That's another video. That's like too much of another video. And be humble and be teachable. Be teachable. Don't be someone that is like, oh, well, I know how to do this, or I'll learn it myself. Like, people want to teach. There's a lot of these mechanics out there and journeymen out there that have been doing this for a long time, 20, 30, 40, 50 years sometimes, and they have a lot to teach you. They've screwed up a lot. There's a lot that they can show you. Don't let your ego hold you back from learning something, or learning how to do something that somebody's done a million times, you know? I love talking to these guys and just picking their brains, because there's so much that I haven't been exposed to in the plumbing world, or even just in life in general. I mean, and that could be said, you know, me telling my kid that. There's so much I haven't been exposed to, you know? Depends on where you are in your life, you know? But specifically for, you know, being in the trades, there's a lot that I haven't been exposed to. There's a lot of things that I don't know. And I always remain teachable. Always. Always. Because it's important. And because that's the best way to advance and get a really good skill set and actually know what the hell you're doing, as opposed to faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to share this really quick. I'm going to jump in. I just dropped the guys. I dropped all the food off to the guys, and I have a couple minutes left of my break. But if you guys have any questions, if you want me to cover any videos, any topics, anything like that, let me know in the comments below, and I will do that for you all. And yeah, I hope you have an awesome day, and I hope you got something out of this video.